So we're getting really close to the end of the book. On the last chapter, the cloud of doom was really getting in Mrs. Jules' head, and she made everyone put their name on the blackboard under the word discipline. And today they're starting the ultimate test, day one. I think it's a spelling bee today. The four unbreakables met by the flagpole before school. Don't worry, Joy said. Don't worry, Mauricia said Joy. When you get sent back to kindergarten, I'll still be your friend. Thanks, said Mauricia. I know you'll do great. Nobody can jump rope like you can. True, Joy agreed. And Ron's memorized every page in the dictionary, said Dee Dee. Ron smiled. And Joy's a good speller, too, he pointed out. You always get 100% on your spelling test. True, Joy agreed. And one of Dee Dee's legs is shorter than the other, said Mauricia. Dee Dee's mom. I'm just lucky, I guess, she admitted. They locked thumbs and pinkies and shouted, Unbreakable! Mauricia glanced up at the cloud of doom and then followed her friends into the school building. I hope everyone's ready, Mrs. Jules greeted her class. You just need to remember everything you've ever learned in your whole life. The children looked around nervously. The test would last 3 days. Each day would have several minor tests and one major event. On day one, the major event was a spelling bee. You mean we have to spell the words out loud? Well, that's how a spelling bee works, said Mrs. Jules. Joy did a lot better when she could write the words. She was the master of a fudge squiggle. If she didn't know the letter, she made a fudge squiggle, and it could be any number or letter she wanted. Mrs. Jules always gave the benefit of the doubt. All the children stood along the wall as they waited for their turn for the spelling bee. If they missed a word, they had to sit down. Mac couldn't spell curious. Leslie missed squawk, and Jason went out on the word confidential. Dilly-dally, said Mrs. Jules. Dilly-dally, Todd repeated. He got every letter, but he left out the hyphen. Oh, it's not even a letter, he protested when Mrs. Jules told him to sit down. Jenny missed the word skateboard. Joy was next. Helicopter, said Mrs. Jules. Helicopter, Joy repeated. H-E-L. She was stuck. She didn't know if it was one or two L's, and she didn't know if the letter after was an E or an I. She could have written it. She could have made the perfect fudge squiggles to cover all the possibilities. But she had to return to her seat. Dee Dee was eliminated on the word eliminated. A short leg didn't help with spelling. After a while, only 3 students remained. John, Ron, and Mauricia. Spectacle, said Mrs. Jules. Spectacle, John repeated. S-K-E-P-T-I-C-A-L. That actually spells skeptical, not spectacle. So, only Ron and Mauricia remained. Orchestra, said Mrs. Jules. Murmurs could be heard around the room. Nobody thought Ron could do it. Orchestra, Ron repeated, and then he spelled it perfectly. Vacuum, said Mrs. Jules. Mauricia wasn't sure if there was 2 C's and 1 U or 2 U's and 1 C, but she guessed it right. Mrs. Jules closed her dictionary. Well, that's all the dictionary words, she announced. I guess we'll have to use words that aren't in the dictionary. It was Ron's turn. Sprubble dub, said Mrs. Jules. Ron had memorized the entire dictionary. How was he supposed to spell an undictionary word? May I have the definition, please? He asked. When you count to 3 and you fall asleep in the middle, said Mrs. Jules. I guess that's what's a thruple dub. Oh, that's easy, Ron said, and then he correctly spelled the non-word. Fudge squiggle, said Mrs. Jules. Mauricia spelled it perfectly. She even got the hyphen, as she learned from Todd's mistake earlier. Oh, I don't even know how to say this word. Humph, said Mrs. Jules. Again, Ron asked for the definition. It's the sound made by a jump rope as it brushes against the ground, explained Mrs. Jules. Ron gave it his best shot. W-H-U-M-P-H? Sorry, Ron, said Mrs. Jules. There are 2 M's in whump. I skipped a page. I win, Mauricia exclaimed. The class cheered. Ron felt cheated. If it's a made-up word, who gets to decide how many M's it has? Mauricia's smile was big and bright, but Ron was not smiling. I hope this doesn't break up the Unbreakables. Well, our next chapter will be called Jump Rope Arithmetic. Maybe it's their next event. See you later.